Hi, Horse Trailer Post here. So this particular feature what we're discussing is horse area flooring. There are basically three types of flooring material used in manufacturing in the United States that we at Horse Trailer Post are aware of. Those include wood, aluminum, and lumber. So there's not any other material that is used, at least that we are aware of, in manufacturing. However, there are significant variations between those and lots of options. So it's important to you as a buyer to understand which types of materials are available and the potential benefits or hazards of those materials. So quickly, we're going to look at these three types: aluminum with a rubber mat, first of all, and then pressure treated wood boards with a rubber mat. If we just go on Google, type in aluminum horse trailer flooring, the first one, this is what a wood floor with a rubber mat would look like. And so really, that's a nice looking floor. Ideally, what you would like to stay away from, in my opinion, would be tongue and groove wood. That's where one board actually snaps into the board beside it, and you don't have this crack in here. So the gap allows air to sort of get around those boards and water to drain out and things like that, and it won't hold moisture. So this would be an acceptable style of a wood floor with a rubber mat on top. The aluminum floor, let's see if we actually see a photo here, but basically you would pull the mat back and you would see, some sort of aluminum type material showing underneath that mat. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. And then the last type of flooring material would be lumber. That's like lumber with an R, and this is the actual floor, so there's no mat or anything. If you look on the bottom side of a trailer that has lumber, you'll see the bottom side of the board, and this is the top side with the grooves. So let's dive into all three of those a little bit more in detail. When we're looking at the first one, so aluminum with a rubber mat, we get that pressure treated wood board with a rubber mat. What you have to be aware of with any type of flooring material is maintenance. Of course, if it's a new trailer, you're going to have to maintain it. If it's a used trailer, you want to make sure that it has been maintained. For example, this is an aluminum trailer. At the time the photo was taken, it was about 6 years old. This is what the trailer looked like from the outside looking in to the horse area. And when the mats were pulled back, you could see, you could actually see the ground through those holes. So it literally, the aluminum rust or oxidize it in the flooring pit. So that's really unsafe. It's not structurally sound, and it's very expensive to replace that. The same thing can happen with a wood floor with a rubber mat on top. So the problem generally occurs is when moisture and urine and things of that nature get in between the mat and on top of the floor, and it sits there and it's not properly cleaned out and allowed the floor to dry. So with any flooring, aluminum floor with the mat, a wood floor with the mat, as long as the mats are removed, the flooring is cleaned frequently, and the mats are put back in after the flooring has dried, the urine, things like that are removed, it will, you'll have a solid floor for a very, very long time with either one of those materials. The other type of flooring, before we get into variations, would be lumber. You could do quite a bit of research on lumber. I personally have a tremendous amount of experience with lumber. I've been in manufacturing for 18, 19 years now. We found a Facebook post on a Facebook page here about lumber, and of course you'll find some variations or opinions from different folks. So we just wanted, more opinions. Sarah says, I love my lumber. Karen K says, me too, love my lumber, will not back to aluminum ever. And we asked these guys some questions, or it looks like some questions were proposed. Do you have a bumper pull or gooseneck, step up or ramp? This one was a 15-foot short wall with a ramp. And then we've heard isolated cases of slippage. So those were addressed in this Facebook post as well. 2008 Kiefer steel frame. I love the Rumber. Andrea Keen, mine is a Step Up, and she says haven't had issues at all with slippage, good texture, and she actually posted a photo of hers. Let's see. Yeah, it's a great shot. So I'm not sure what brand trailer this is. It really doesn't matter, but it's just a trailer with a Rumber floor in there that she's had for many years. It's a Step Up. She does use sawdust, so I think there's no issue with slippage or anything like that. So for the most part, we do see a lot of positive response from the Rumber flooring without much negative to go with it. The other options, so that's what Rumber is. That is the actual floor. So we've discussed aluminum with the mat, wood boards with the mat. We've discussed Rumber. Of course, it's not important to, the luxury of Rumber is you don't have the rubber mats on top, so you don't have to pull those out. You don't have to worry about hosing the trailer out nearly as often. In maintenance, from a maintenance perspective, no rust or corrosion would occur. So it's really a nice flooring. And then there are two other variations that we'd like to discuss: aluminum with sprayed over coating and a pressure treated wood board with a sprayed over coating. And there's several variations available in the US. One that has been brought to our attention would be worm flooring. There are many manufacturers that use that. You can see from the photo it looks really nice. Our concern at Horse Trailer Post, and I don't have any experience with worm flooring, but I do have a lot of experience with coatings. And typically a coating itself is only as good as the adhesion process. So we did a little bit of searching on Horse Trailer World, and we did find a guy here who seems to know what he's talking about. He goes by the name of GARD, and it's discussing worm flooring or rubber mats. And this is what he says: a worm coating may reduce the occurrence of corrosion on the floor's top surface. I agree. But it will not eliminate the moisture from entering through any orifice from below. True. I completely agree. Most truthful worm dealers, he says, will explain how some of their installations have had partial adhesion problems, with spot repairs of delaminations not being uncommon. I completely agree with that. So anytime that we're spraying a coating on top of a piece of wood or a piece of aluminum in the floor, the strength of that coating of the floor is only going to be as strong as the adhesion process. When the worm delaminates, he says, moisture can enter in between the space and become trapped. If it's urine, of course it's very corrosive, and it'll look like the photo we showed you here if that moisture gets in there. This gentleman also says if worm is applied over a used floor, the preparation before the worm installation is critical. Not only should the area be spotless, but the flooring should be acid washed to stop any present corrosion. Worm hides these flaws until the metal starts to manifest and the spot grow into holes. So yeah, our major concern at Horse Trailer Post with any type of material, whether it's the polylast, the worm, or vortex coatings, as some manufacturers call it, any type of coating, our concern is that coating can fail. And once that happens, if it does happen, then moisture will be allowed to get in between there. And of course, you could see if that were to happen on this floor, you couldn't see the moisture underneath. You wouldn't know your floor was corroding, and you just end up with problems long term should those failures happen. So option, this one, aluminum with sprayed over coating, would be referring to a worm type floor. From the other responses we received, folks seem to really like the worm flooring. From a slippage perspective, from a maintenance perspective, no problems at all with worm. And of course, as long as those materials don't break down, and as long as moisture does not get in between the aluminum and the worm, or the wood and the worm flooring, it does appear that it would make a really nice floor. Okay, hope that helps to better explain varying types of flooring.